conference will now be recorded.
Coffee didn't get done, so I gotta go during the meeting and get it. They just started it. We ready? We're gonna call this meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next regular meeting of the board will take place on Tuesday, January 23rd. There was a glitch there. It's not the 13th. 2026 at 9 a.m. at the community center. It's Friday the 23rd. There's two glitches. Two glitches. The next meeting is Friday, January 23rd. Please silence or turn off the cell phone. Key upcoming events. January 1st, New Year's Day, district office closed. January 19th, MLK Day, district office closed. January 20th, acceptance of landowner absentee ballots are closed for the January 2023-2026 landowner election. I also want to add, you can vote at the district office December 23rd to December 20th. January 23rd, 20th, I mean. So you can go up, and there's a process up there. You don't have to get an absentee ballot to vote, but you can go to the office, and it's on the website, December 23rd to January 20th, and vote. Or you can vote here January 23rd from 9 to 11 a.m. Yes.
No.
And then,
Actually, the meeting is adjourned during the landowners election.
Clarification, there's going to be a board meeting that will start at 9 o'clock on the 23rd, Friday. Regular board business. During that time in the back office there, people will be able to come in and vote from 9 to 11, because at 11 o'clock we reconvene for the landowner meeting. All voting's done by then. We're counting the ballots and we'll represent the personnel. But that's going to be in the back office during the board meeting.
And when are you going to publish the candidates?
Candidates are being published as we get them in. They'll be on the website on the 22nd of January. I'll have the final roll call of all the candidates that submitted. We'll publish that out on the ballots. Right now, we only have one that's submitted.
December 23rd.
December 23rd, you'll see all the candidates.
December 23rd. Okay.
yeah. Okay, public comment in general. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and may not be answered by a supervisor or staff member. However, all public comments will be captured for the record, and the general manager will address your issue concerns after the meeting within 72 hours. Is there any public comment? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Michael. We've talked about this before about public comment, limited at 3 minutes. I understand, nobody wants to be here for 6 hours. But if there's something that comes up in the meeting and it requires a question and an answer from the district board, I would appreciate it was done at that time, not dragged out for another month or communications sent to home site and things like that. Very simple request. I'd like to be able to see reaction in person on a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda, but in the minutes on page 3, on the item at the bottom where it says Scott Wyatt inquired about the absence of a board member, that was Suzanne Wyatt. With that correction, I'll go ahead and approve the consent agenda, but also with the understanding that the golf financials would be discussed in detail during the action agenda.
Somebody want to second that?
I second it.
Tamia?
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes. Action agenda. Discussion on citizens' concern from a letter sent to the governor and the state ethics department.
I asked for this to be put back on to be put on the agenda because you tried to silence the people and what they had to say the last meeting. They asked to have this read into the letter read into the record, at which time I intend to do that. This was addressed to the Honorable Ron DeSantis, Governor of the state of Florida, the Capitol, 400 South Monroe Street, Tallahassee, Florida. It's regarding the request for your review to sanction, remove, or recall 2 Sun and Lake Special District Supervisors. Dear Governor DeSantis, this letter comes to you from concerned citizens in the Sun and Lake Special District area of Sebring, Florida. We have a 5-member Board of Supervisors. We have issues with the conduct of 2 of the 5 members of the Board of Supervisors. It has been brought to our attention that the President of the Board of Supervisors, Mike Gilpin, is not following policy. 1, he has instructed our district manager, Ray Bosser, to not meet with the residents of the district as a separate group. 2, he has dictated that specific questions be removed from the current district survey. Item 3, he has dictated that our district manager cannot write articles to submit to our local newspaper on topics of which he would be considered an expert. Item 4, he is also accused of giving direction to district employees without the knowledge of the district manager. While he stated is not all allegations are accurate, Mr. Gilpin has not denied them, stating it is what it is. All of these actions are a violation of our policy manual district bylaws as per the following. Section B-1800 District Code of Ethics for the Board of Supervisor members. Item 3, threatening, intimidating, coercing, interfering with fellow board members, the public at large, or district employees or contracts, giving directions to district employees or contracts. The policy manual also states per section B-1108, board member and staff relationship. No members of the board shall give direction to any district employee unless specifically authorized by a motion of the board at a duly constituted meeting or by consensus of board members. This information was brought to the board's attention. There was a motion and second to remove Mr. Gilpin as president. The vote was 3 against removing him as president, which included President Gilpin's vote, and 2 for his removal as president. We object to Mr. Gilpin being able to vote on this issue as it was an issue involving his future, but we have not been provided any information as to what would happen if he abstained or what to expect in a tiebreaker situation. We have a 2nd district supervisor, John McLaughlin, that we believe will need to be sanctioned and removed in the best interest of the district. We can provide a video exchange from a recent supervisors meeting between him and Scott Kurek, Highlands County Commissioner, questioning in a very specific way whether our district manager instructed staff to pay taxes on land that was involved in a dispute between Highlands County and Sun and Lake. It seems obvious that the conversation between Supervisor McLaughlin and Commissioner Kurek had taken place outside of the public eye. McLaughlin's intent was to discredit the district manager in front of a room full of residents, intimating that the district manager was unlawfully holding on tax funds when all along the district was actively negotiating with the Highlands County Tax Collector's Office. Since that time, the dispute has been elevated to a settlement conference and a potential legal action. Supervisor McLaughlin was aware of the dispute and timeline. In addition, a resident sent a letter to the entire Board of Supervisors and the district manager questioning the above-mentioned meeting and the vote procedure to remove Mr. Gilpin as president. A copy of the letter from the resident is attached for your review. Supervisor McLaughlin took it upon himself to respond to our resident in an intimidating and coercive manner, also making false claims about statements that were never made by the resident. A copy of McLaughlin's letter is attached for your review. The letter from the resident to the board did not warrant the cease and desist return letter from McLaughlin. There does not appear to be any repercussions for this behavior. Neither of these supervisors appear to appreciate being asked or questioned as to their motives. We do not feel they have the best interest of the district at heart. Neither of these supervisors that are in favor of our district manager voted no to his annual review and salary package, and it appears are retaliating against the district manager. It would be devastating to the district to lose our district manager. The last time a district manager resigned from this position, it took the district 2 years to replace them. Our district manager has the support of the majority of the residents of Sun and Lake. We have lost faith in Mr. Gilpin and Mr. McLaughlin's ability to lead our community. We do not feel they are prepared for the board meetings, even though an agenda and a comprehensive group of documents are provided to them. We'd be happy to provide additional information as it relates to our district and the two above mentioned board members. Our goal is for you to review and instruct as to how we can sanction, remove, and recall these two board members. Respectfully, concerned residents of Sun and Lake Special District, Sebring, Florida, Brian and Kim Gross, 4900 Pebble Beach Drive, Scott Wyatt, 1612 Sunrise Drive, Mark and Barb Caramana, 5010 Myrtle Beach Drive, Linda and Mark Camp, formerly S&L Supervisor, 481 Pebble Beach Drive, Ray Brooks, former S&L Supervisor, 65634 Matanzas Drive. And the attachments are Scott Wyatt's letter of 10/7/2025, John McLaughlin's letter of 10/8/2025, and CCs to Governor DeSantis, Cordbird, Florida Secretary of State, James Utmeyer, Florida Attorney General, Florida Commission of State of Ethics, and the Sun and Lake District Manager Ray via email, and to all the Sun and Lake Board of Supervisors. This meeting is just as much for the residents of this community as it is for us to conduct our business. They have a right to speak. They have a right to question your vote and why you voted the way you did. In here it says you didn't have maybe as much information. Nobody stopped you from asking the questions. It is a travesty for our president to violate district policy and has no action whatsoever taken against him. That is uncalled for. It is totally, I can't believe, how are we to, if someone else, a resident, an employee, violates the code, the policy, and they can revert back to this, how are we going to say that we can't do, that we're not able to do what we're going to do? Whether it be a sanction, removing their rights for a certain period of time. It's a travesty. We need to fix it.
Is that it?
For now.
Okay. Any public comment?
Good morning, Mark Caramana, Myrtle Beach Drive. I would like to propose that when we have a conflict on a vote like we did, where Mr. President Gilpin was able to vote for himself, I would like to propose that he abstain, or anybody abstain if there's a conflict, and perhaps a deciding vote be reverted back to the general manager. It would be something that should be considered, I would think. Thank you.
Hi, Rhonda Barish. First of all, first and foremost, for this letter that was sent by these concerned citizens And they state in their letter that they are representing the majority of the homeowners in Sun and Lakes. I, for one, don't even know who these people are, and I do not appreciate that you speaking on my behalf when you have not discussed any of the information or allegations that you say these board members have committed. And if you are asking Mr. Gilpin and Mr. McLaughlin to recuse themselves if they are part of the problem, you cannot allow the general manager to be the tiebreaker because he also is involved in the dispute. And I would also ask, who in the world goes around filming people having conversations with our community leaders? We are allowed to do that. I don't care if they're board members or not. They're also landowners here. So whoever these concerned citizens are, and I have their names, I don't appreciate you speaking out and including the rest of Sun and Lakes as concerned citizens. If you want to be that concerned citizen, it sounds to me like the people in this letter certainly don't feel like they're getting their way in something they want and are making our general manager out to be some kind of saint. There are a lot of things that are going wrong, and you can shrug your shoulders and everything else, Mr. Bossert, but there's a lot of things that have been brought to your attention that have not been addressed. So, the same goes. Everybody has to be held to the same standard. And don't for 1 minute sign that you are representing people that you don't even know or have spoken to. And I don't appreciate the way it was handled and the way that these certain people, the people listed on that letter, walked out, disrupted a meeting, and were extremely rude to those of us who were sitting here and trying to understand. All that was about a problem that you have and that you think is important. If you want the rest of the community to support, why don't you come right out and say it? And tell us what this big issue is. You allege they did this, you allege they did that. How does it affect the running of whatever they did? Give some explanation, because none of this is all like cloak and dagger. Not everybody knows what you're talking about. That letter says they did this, that, and the other, but that doesn't say what they did and how it affected the citizens of Sun and Lakes. So I would ask that this be not discussed until all the members of Sun and Lakes community as homeowners have the information of what you're stating that they did. And Mr. Bossert should never be a tiebreaker on anything because it concerns him as well as it does them. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, Randy Bauer, Sabona. I can strongly disagree with what she just said, because I was at that meeting and it was brought up what you did and you went along with it and did it. And, I don't know why all of a sudden the board does not have to answer for any other votes. Can't we be transparent? Can't I'm saying you two people have never said what your agenda is or what you're trying to do by getting rid of Boss, by voting no on everything that comes up that the other two vote yes on. So I just don't understand. And Mr. Gilpin, you have done this numerous times. It wasn't just this meeting. You told me to go sit down one time. That's uncalled for. All I was doing was saying what you were doing, and it was exactly what you were doing. So I don't know. You guys got a lot of problems. And when we say the majority of the people, we've had problems before There's nobody here for you, Mr. Gilpin. That was the one person. I don't know. It's what I see.
Mark Carmona again. For the lady that just spoke up, if she was at the meeting, she would have noticed that Mr. Bossert had given a thorough explanation of what the violations were. And I thought he did a very good job of it. I also brought up the fact that there are numerous violations, which I stated all the violations that were performed. And I just don't understand how this woman can go ahead and say that we're not speaking for the rest of the community when there were clearly violations that were taken care of. Thank you.
Kim Gross, Pebble Beach. I just want to clarify something that she said. In our comments, the majority of the residents of Sun and Lake support BOS. We did not say that the majority of the residents of Sun and Lake support BOS. Yes, we signed a petition. You had your time.
Order.
You had your time. We signed a petition. That's the only way that that guy is sitting in that seat today. Because you've done your level best, whether it was to not give him a package, to dink around with the package, who was supporting the package. Finally, he gets a package. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us. And we support him. With or without you, we support him.
Let's have order. Let's have order. Order. Yes, sir.
Good morning. Scott Wyatt, Sunrise Drive. My letter to the board, my email to the board after the October meeting referenced the board decision, primarily referenced the board decision to ignore allegations of unethical behavior against Mr. Gilpin. The official board response back to me was a public document authored by Supervisor McLaughlin, which contained false accusations, and I would suggest the core of the response was itself inaccurate. I'll just read the first paragraph from Supervisor McLaughlin. Mr. Scott Wyatt, please cease and desist your unethical behavior in sending an email that is attempting to influence how I vote or voted. You do not have the right to send out harassing emails trying to intimidate me on how I vote. Well, let me first state that my email to the board was not unethical. It was referencing the allegations against Mr. Gilpin and his unethical behavior, and your unwillingness to address those issues. But with regard to rights, I do have the right to send emails to the board, and I do have my right to share my point of view with the board, whether I do it speaking as I am now or in an email. We, the public, have the right to do that. Public comments may or may not influence the way the board votes. That's a natural part of the process. But we do have the right to express ourselves. And if people speaking candidly or disagreeing with you makes you feel harassed or intimidated, I mean, that's your issue, right? Mr. McLaughlin went on in this letter. He says, since you do not know me, you should not accuse me of not using facilities at Sun and Lake. Well, Mr. McLaughlin, you're the one doing the accusing, and you're falsely accusing me of ever saying such a thing. You continue by writing, in addition, you do not have the right to tell board members, as you did at a past meeting, that they should move away from Sun and Lake. That is not your decision. That is also harassment and unethical. Once again, you're falsely accusing me of saying something I never said. And anyone who's been at the past meetings know that I didn't say that. I would suggest that your words, unethical, harassment, intimidation, more accurately describe what you wrote to me, not describing my letter to the board. Thank you for listening.
Any other public comment?
Bill Norcross, second time. I think what's going on here is what I mentioned earlier about if you have a beef with the board or have a question, it's not dealt with at the right time. We had the last meeting, we had a walkout and people were disgusted and upset. I don't want that. I want it to be kept in-house. The problem is dealt with on the spot and on the time, if possible. If some research has to be done, fine. But I tell you what, you know, when you carry on this stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's not a good thing for the Sun and Lake community. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Ray Brooks, resident. This thing's been going on for like 3 months. I think you all got to grow up because this is ridiculous. It's an embarrassment to this district that this is even happening. Never should have happened to begin with. You guys live by a code. You guys somebody broke the code to cause this whole thing to happen. So I suggest you guys all get mature and like figure out what you need to do to support and correct this error that you all have made. I mean, it's ridiculous. 3 months. I mean, you guys feel bad about it? You guys feel happy about it? Do you give a damn about it? I mean, grow up.
Any other public comment? Order. Any other public comment?
Hello, my name's Bill Messline. I reside at 4510 Calatrava. I have a concern that a letter was sent to the governor, and if I'm not mistaken, how many people have signed the letter? Craig?
5.
5 people. I don't think that's a good representation of the community. Nobody contacted me and asked me if I was in favor or not in favor. And for somebody to stand up here and say the majority of Sun and Lakes support this, I disagree. I think you need to have a consensus, and you need to have enough signatures that would show a consensus. Number 2, I agree with Ray, who I seldom agree with, that you guys need to grow up. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Correct it, okay? You know, I know you're going to have a code of ethics meeting. I think that's great. I think not everybody understands the laws or the rules or the codes of conduct. Everybody can make a mistake. You know, do whatever you need to do to correct it, okay? I just think that it looks like part of the community is against the other part of the community, and that's not what we're about in Sun and Lakes. Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment? Excuse me, any other public comment? Okay, any comment by the supervisors, if any?
To address the concern of the lady, Bob specifically went through every detail of the code of the violations of district policy. I reiterated every one of those during the meeting that happened 2 meetings ago. So everybody knew exactly what all the violations of the policy were. And the majority of the people that were here supported some form of action being taken.
Order,
Uh,
order, order.
I'm saying the majority of the people that were here supported it. So be it.
Order, we can't have people talking when somebody's talking.
So just for the record, it was very well defined as to what he did.
Any other comment?
I have a question for the attorney. It was brought up that Mike was allowed to vote. If he didn't vote and it was 2-2, what would be the result of that vote?
I don't know if it's on. First of all, as I stated to Boz, oh, it's on now. Florida law requires public officials to vote. There's no abstaining from vote unless there is a conflict of interest. And the Florida Code of Ethics defines a conflict of interest in economic terms. It must inure to your economic benefit. In this case, we determined that because the role of president doesn't incur any economic benefit, he was required to vote. There is no option for him under the law not to vote. So I think if he was absent, right? If he was absent or did have a conflict as a result of, he had some sort of economic gain, then 2-2, a vote under Robert's rules, which I believe you do, is a failed vote. It doesn't pass.
Any other comment by supervisors? Wait a minute, wait,
I'm going way back. Wasn't not there a petition that was passed through the citizens? Was there not? Wasn't there a petition that everybody signed? Did that not go? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comment? Janice, do I have to go back to public comment? It seems like we got.
Can I just say something? I've been hearing about the process and what sort of process is available. There is a process under Florida law to recall an elected official, or in this case, a landowner. Special district governing officials are removed from office in the same procedure for municipal officers. It requires, first, there has to be grounds for recall. So the statute lists 7 different grounds: misfeasance, malfeasance, public drunkenness, neglect of duty, incompetence, permanent inability to perform, and conviction of a felony. That is then with a petition that is submitted to the governor's office. So the grounds for recall, less than 200 words, with a petition signed by, I believe, what's the population here?
2,000.
Right. So 10% of the residents, or the petition has to be signed by 1,000 people. Once that is submitted to the governor then works with your supervisor of election, and they do a recall election. So there is an actual public election on this. So there is a procedure. I don't think that the district could adopt, they could adopt a more stringent procedure, but they couldn't adopt anything, less stringent. So I just wanted to point that out. I heard a lot of comments about people not being represented in a legal process. There is due process, and the residents will be represented.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
If a bylaw states that what'd you say, financially, he doesn't,
Yeah, economic benefit.
if a bylaw is no good, what do we do to change it? I mean, come on. I mean, I understand what you're saying. He followed the law. I get it. But if the law is not that great, how do you change it?
You go to the legislature and you change it. And in fact,
Do you guys have no control over
the
anything?
conflict of interest statute was changed in 2013 to clarify that it was for economic benefit only. So it used to be much more liberal and
So
broader.
we have no recourse at Sun and Lake, our district, to do anything differently.
More stringent than law, but not less stringent.
I'm sorry.
So you could have a more in terms of the recall, it could be like a higher level of requirements. But with the public, with the voting conflicts, I could look into it. I'm not going to answer off the top of my head.
I know, but
I
you,
could,
you
yeah.
guys don't have any authority to change a law on your own or make a law for Sun and Lake only? I mean, come on, what do you guys do?
Let,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, not a strange,
If the
the
board,
golf club
yeah.
makes its own rules to help the golfers out. Why can't Sun and Lake, the district, change some rules to help the district out? That's all. Yeah.
So if the board would want to direct me to look into whether the board, the district could adopt a more rigorous voting conflict policy, I will look into it.
I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, if we want to change a rule, can't they change a rule? They're the Board of Supervisors supposedly.
are you saying that if the vote had been 3-2, that it would not have worked because the state outvotes the district?
No. You're saying which vote is 3-2?
The vote was 2-2.
Right.
And he voted but if the vote had been 3-2 to eliminate him, to ask him to resign.
He wouldn't have resigned. He would have resigned his position as president. He would still
Correct.
be an elected official.
Right.
He would still be a board supervisor, but he
Correct.
wouldn't have the position of president.
So that's all we're allowed to do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, but I'd like this to make it quick. 'Cause you gotta stand up, please.
On the petition that was sent, do we have a number? Were there 1,000 people that signed it? And do they just get selectively going around the neighborhoods to see who wants to sign it? Or is it, were there 1,000 people that signed that petition that would, to go with that letter?
It was my understanding that was not a recall petition.
So a petition would be 10%, as you said.
Okay, I guess we just, what we do is wait to hear from the governor.
The governor will not respond because it was not submitted in accordance with the procedure required by law. As I said, if you would like me to draft a policy to bring back to the board about voting, I wait your direction.
I did not hear what's going on.
Yeah,
we-
excuse me, so for clarification, the district did not send the letter to the governor, it was citizens that sent the letter, so we, unless informed by the citizens, we would not be, we're not in that loop. If the governor, which he will, he'll respond in some fashion to the people that submitted it, and then it's their prerogative to either inform me, inform you individually, and they'll bring back the answer, but we won't get an answer because we're not the submitters of the request.
So my question was, is that what they just said? They are getting an answer they've heard? Okay.
That's the answer.
Okay, do we just move on now then?
Well, I have a question then.
Okay.
I mean, the question is, how do we move forward? I mean, the board voted, that's over. There's a letter out there, I guess, we're waiting on some kind of response. You mentioned a potential recall effort, how that would happen. In lieu of a positive, from their point of view, response from the governor or a recall, is this over?
Okay. Number B, discussion, discussion and review of the 2025 budget summary. Is that you, Bob?
Yes, sir. Okay, this is not the official audit information. This is from our internal end-of-year summaries from our 2024, 2025 budget numbers. This data goes to our auditors, and in the early spring timeframe, we will get a response back with the official audit review, and they'll come present it like they do annually. So in our summary, very 30,000 foot level, the district collected good amount of revenue, and we did not raise taxes or assessments. We did not increase a lot of fees or whatnot, but we got a lot of FEMA money. We got a lot of insurance money. We have a lot of bad debt that was collected from active efforts. So at the end, we got close to just over $19 million in what we're calling revenue from all those streams. We were only expected to get 14.232 based on our budget. So that's a larger amount, and it's not tied to us increasing any rates, because any rates we increased started 1 October this year. So that's a good sign for the district. It was really going after a lot of bad debt and shaking the trees for our funding that we were due, but it just took a lot of effort to work through the county and the state again. So that's good news. On the flip side, we spent right in the ballpark of what we said we would spend. So that's good too, collectively. We were going to spend a little over 14 million. We spent 14,180. So again, right on track in that world. So at the end of the day, $4.8 million in positive revenue for 2024, 2025. A highlight there, a pullout internal to all those numbers, our budget for payroll across the district. This is the entire 180 employees we have, from the golf, restaurant, public works, front office, and so on. Just shy of 5 million, just less than 5 million. And that's great because that's only about 35% of our total budget. The reality is, in the government world, that is a lot higher number, more in the 40, 50, 60% range when it comes to payroll for government agencies. And that's not only best practices or industry standards, but which are all available online, all our peer sister cities around us, their payroll is in the 60+% range. So we are very scrutinizing on our payroll and trying to make sure we pay our folks right, but we're very being scrutiny in the amount of folks we have and to address our issues. So good news there. Operational accounts. Our operational accounts is basically our checkbooks that we have. We have about 6 of these accounts. These are just ongoing, recurring checkbooks that we gather money and then pay our bills from. We ended the year with about $2.1 million, which is a good amount. Historically, prior to my arrival, the district was still making a lot of money in our operational accounts, over $5-6 million. But those operational accounts were getting no interest whatsoever. So over the years, with board support, we've adjusted our sense of doing that, and we moved more into the reserves, where we kept just enough in our operational accounts to pay bills. When you add what's our operational accounts with what our reserve money is, which is right at $10 million right now across all our reserve accounts, the district ended the year with about $12.1 million cash on hand, I call it. Because if the board directs me, cash out, we want to do something crazy, we'd be able to bring to the table, because it's not tied up in CDs or anything like that, basically bank savings accounts. We'd be able to bring to the table $12.1 million to do something. So that's a great position to be in for the size of our district. Then we go into the reserve specifically. We got about $350K in interest, which is a lot more than we ever got before. We'll continue to do that, even with the interest rates dropping. Interest rates only dropped for us in the savings accounts we use, the savings tools we use, about a 0.5 percentage point. So we're still going to make 4 to 4.5% in interest in our reserve money. So good news there. The 10 million will continue to amplify in every year based on budgetary requirements as well as direction. We put in close to over $500,000 invest back into ourselves and our reserves. So that 10 million grows not only with interest, but will continue to grow based on self-investment. So good on that. Now when it comes to our 3 major enterprise funds, general operations is the district office and all the staff in that area. Utility is purely the utility. And then the golf, restaurant, banquets, I pulled those out separately to show you that's our 3 funding streams, our operational streams. So at the end of the day, in general operations, we budgeted an amount, we spent an amount, we were 71K positive. Even with all that money that we above the line collected. So that's good in our general fund. That funded everything from street roads, paying our utility bills and so on. When it comes to our utility operations, again, a lot of money made there, but a lot of that money you see there tied to the wastewater collection. So it wasn't really revenue generated. That's the wastewater fee we charged all our district for the future plant. So we collected over $2 million in that. And that goes into a separate reserve. The bill own that for our plant, pay that off. And then there was an additional money, and this is where it's really user driven. Because we have good meters that track actual use from everything from our hospital to our smallest condo or apartment we have in Sun and Lake, we're actually charging folks exactly what they use rather than an estimate. We were able to do that more efficiently, as well as the major boon in building in the district, where a lot of those developers are paying for new connection fees in the average area of $8,500 per new house are paid straight to utilities. It's not assessment money, it's straight to our utility fee to do a connection to the line. And because of all that, we were able to break over $2 million in additional revenue in our utility. So there we're able to reinvest that into ourselves, cleaning up some of the old lines, adding water lines, fixing the older asbestos lines that we're doing, and that's a good thing. On the golf restaurant banquets, again, we were tied here with some issues with more of an accounting issue, but I forced the issue directing Mike. We're not going to dip into our emergency fund that we have in the district for Hurricane Milton or the damages. We're going to eat it out of operational money. That was the decision made by me because we knew the amount of reimbursement would not come soon. It'd be such later in the effect. So I didn't want to skew the books. By doing that, it caused about 3 weeks of lack of revenue, 1 week for Milton and 2 weeks for the cold snap we had back in January, if you all remember that time. So the cold snap not only affects golf operations, but our golf operations directly tied to a restaurant. If there's not a lot of golfers, there's our dip in restaurant utilization where you think it might be higher really came down. People just weren't going out. It was cold. They didn't want to come out to a restaurant. They stayed at home and so on. So there was a dip in revenue there, but our expenses continued. Also, the expenses of last year, as well as this year's budget, we had to start upticking all the state mandated $15 an hour. So we took a lot of our $10 an hour employees, we took them into the $11 to $12 range, just to start stair stepping them up there. So it's not a big hit this year because September 30th of 2026, we have to get everyone to a $15 an hour state mandated minimum. And we're on the glide path to do that. So that hit us hard last year, and that's where you see collectively, if you look at the numbers there, when you take golf, restaurant, banquets all together, collectively at the end of the year, pre-audit, we were under by $38,000. I was working with Mike, I was thinking we were going to be just shy of 10,000, 15,000 less. It was actually double that. But my point there is not that we're going to throw the money back into golf once we get the FEMA and the insurance claims, which we only got a small portion of them so far. And actually that money just came last month in October. Once we get that, that is going to show you the true effect of that line was that money that we used to clean up the golf courses for payroll, for damages to the irrigation lines from the hurricane will be compensated and will be sent back into our coffers. And that will show the true damage or lack thereof in their golf restaurant banquet operations. That if you had the $300,000 that we're waiting on, you'd have a $270,000 positive. But I wanted to show you the real number. The real number right now, without all that money that we may see in the next few months, is we missed the mark in our golf restaurant banquet operation by $38K. We'll refine that number with the auditors and make sure it all makes sense. They're cleaning up the books now. 1 December, we had to send our final numbers. Our utility operation, we made the $2.8 million extra in revenue, but as you know, we're doing water lines on Navarre. We're upgrading with the auto flushers. We've been doing a lot of those projects throughout the year. We'll continue to do that. So there's a lot of projects going on in that. Once the totality of FEMA insurance comes in, we'll see that as a revenue input, but it will show in 2026. So then we're not going to go back and clean our books up unless the auditors prefer us to do that. They'll make that determination for us. We will show a larger input of revenue from insurance claims and whatnot that get clarified once FEMA pays us out for the damages from Hurricane Milton. And luckily we didn't get hit this year, so we have that year of no damages that we were able to get our coffers back up to what they should be. Our damages from Milton were hovering in the $400,000 range, but because the way FEMA does their calculations, they bring you whole to today's standard. So we're looking at getting close to $600,000 to $700,000 in reimbursement, because they're not going to just fix the tree that was 30 years old that got tore up on the golf course. They're going to buy us a new tree that's new, that same size, and that's a lot more expensive than fixing the 30-year-old tree. So we're going to get a larger portion of the FEMA reimbursement. And we did send a lot of money into our reserve. So that's the totality of it. The good talking points on the far right, we received 35% more in revenue. We executed 100% of the budget, which is good. You don't want to obviously bust the budget, but we didn't go way under the budget. In totality, the reality is if you look at your line items, your line items for my departments, the majority of the departments executed their 2025 budgets in about the 80% range. So they're very scrutinizing cost savings. But when you do the totality of it, with the amount of money in reserves, the amount of additional expenses for some of the add-on projects we did, we got right at 100%. And in just 1 year, we were able to throw up to 22% combination of interest, but investments into our reserves to increase that to the $10 million range. So that's the big picture. Let's deep dive into specifically the one, what I'll call the negative, the red line. So we have a little bit more clarity here. So if you're good with and we can come back, Mr. President, if you want to talk those other two lines, but I think getting the whole picture up here would be better. Specifically on our golf operations, I'll call them, because it is right now, until the banquet hall, until a new restaurant is reconfigured, we truly have one operation that's interconnected very closely. We still have to shut down restaurant operations and bank and other operations to host a big banquet. We're going to get out of that with the banquet hall. But because it's one operation, I'll segment it by the numbers there so you have some clarity, but they're very intertwined, independent. A little bit on the negative side, payroll, we're hovering a little bit higher, but here our payroll is more, I don't want to call it seasonal, a lot of part-timers, and it basically fluctuates based on the need and the drive of amount of staff for banquets, for major golfing events. We got to bring in the extra part-timers and so on. So it really fluctuates. It's not a static staff. I have 10 public works guys. I have 10 all year long. Just because I throw a new road project, I don't hire more public works guys. That's different in the golf world. They have a large banquet. They bring in the extra banquet servers. They bring in the folks to help operate that. So that's a more fluctuating budget. But he also knows I'm very scrutinizing on make sure our expenditures and payroll are in line with what we can afford. And we're scrutinizing that on a day-to-day basis, month-to-month, when it comes to me and Mike sitting down. In golf operations in totality, a lot of revenue, less expenses, and collectively about $250,000 in positive in just golf, if you truly peeled away all the restaurant stuff. So that's a good thing. Now that's a good thing. It's even better because that was even executing and doing the repairs with the hurricane damage. So by executing with the operational budget, we were still able to make $250,000. If I would have had the FEMA reimbursement and the money for all the tree damage and debris removal, that would be more in the $500,000 plus range in deposit. So that'll clean up as we get that reimbursed. Now let's look at a restaurant. There's a challenge there. There's a challenge there. You see how much we make in banquets. That's a good number. That's always increasing. We have a very functioning restaurant just when it comes to that, making about $1.2 million. That's pretty good for a standalone restaurant that's not sitting on Highway 27. So that's a good thing. Our expenses are a little bit on the high side, not because of product. It's really just tied to that. It's a combination of payroll increases, paying the part-timers, some product. It's nothing. We don't give a lot of discounts. We don't do a lot of free stuff for folks. So it's really tied to, we got to find that sweet spot where we can bring in more revenue, not tied to golf, and increase that by keeping our static expenses the same. So we're working on that. So there in the red is at the end of the day, the $280,000. There is where 2-3 weeks of less revenue, hurricane damages not to the restaurant, more in payroll and lack of revenue, that directly impacts that line right there. I still had that, I just said staff home because we needed them there in case there was a bunch of people that didn't want to sit at home and come to eat. We reduced it, Mike manages that, but we still had to have them. Same with our golf. The golf course was operating. Because it's cold, I still have to have the people to operate the golf course and maintain it. And if people want to play in cold and bundle up like they're in Wisconsin, great. But a lot of people chose not to, but my staff is still there. So we can work those eaches, but just in the restaurant, we have a little on the slip side. We're on track with cost of goods. We're very scrutinizing on that. We're doing very well in the profit we're making off of banquets. Payroll is my concern point, and I'll continue to beat that drum with Mike and the team over there to get that refined to concern. Right now, we're erring on the side. We don't want it don't want it to look like we're undermanned at any time. There's a cost to doing that. I would rather bring numbers like this to you and paint the picture than have a flurry of complaints of I waited 10 hours, there was no waitress, the cook, there's only one cook today. We don't need to deal with that. We err on the higher side. There's a cost of doing that business. And then the hurricane damage is not directly damaging, but the cold snap and the combination of 1 week in October last year, it takes an impact. And we saw that same impact when we closed one of the courses the previous year. So I'll pause right there before we go to the other two slides if you want to chat about those two numbers from the board. Yeah.
This does include overhead.
Overheads in the general admin as a contract. So the 120 to Troon is in my budget, the 120, sir. This does not have that in there.
But in golf operations, it includes all of the.
Oh, I got you. Yes, sir. It does include marketing, member managed. Yes, sir. All that overhead is in there. Custodians, yeah, it's all in there. It's split, and I think we did the split there, 30-70 split when it comes to golf compared to restaurant.
Excuse me, my voice.
You need water, sir? You need water or something? You good?
Yeah, I'll get some coffee in a minute. Is there much capital money in general operations and utility operations like there is in golf?
There's a lot more in our.
Well, I know there's a lot more in golf, but I mean,
in golf last year, we only executed $48,000 in capital. Yeah, we wanted to execute 150. We ceased a few projects tied to seeing how the numbers fluctuated. We only spent close to 48, and it's in your financial numbers.
Yeah.
For golf. So in golf, we hover about 150K in capital. In utility, it's closer to 900K because there's a bigger project. And in general, which is a lot of the road projects, it's about $1 million in capital.
Okay. But you're aware of all that, what it is.
You'll see it here. We have some slides on that.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Because it's hard for us to.
Yep.
Without the capital money.
There you go.
Being in there, we don't know really what it is.
Okay, so I can quickly so this is just the general.
Okay.
Capital. And this shows you what we planned, what we actually expended, and what I call deferred, we moved into 2026. So
Okay.
this is general. This is top part is utility. We spent a lot of that already, except for one project. And then you see a lot of the golf was deferred because we see how the money was going. We pushed it into 2026. It doesn't increase anything. We just moved that project into 2026. Any other questions on these two slides? Okay, let's talk the bond assessment numbers. Mr. Gilpin, President Gilpin. On bond assessment, just for, this is a good news story. It's a long time coming and continues to improve. The bond 44, which is the Fifth Third Bank buyout, we're doing extremely well on that. Up to date, Tamia is my lead on that, so I appreciate her efforts on that. To date, even though we started with about 120 parcels, Tamia, right? We started with 120 parcels that had this type of debt on there. We've negotiated just over 26. We've recaptured about $310,000 in money that people paid us to clean up their debt, that they weren't paying the Fifth Third Bank's people. They were avoiding them, but they decided to pay us instead because now we own the debt. And right now we only have about the same 50-50. We have $300,000 that if we collect over this year and into next year, we will make the buyout number of 630K and then some. Because if we after only 26 parcels, we made 300K, You can just extrapolate that. If we do another 26, we're going to make close to that. We'll be paid up for what we bought the debt with. And then everything beyond that is what I call free chicken. It's additional money. We'll get it. And then we'll be able to bring to the board how you want to spend it, either reserves or so on. So good news on the bond 44, that it's a continuing process. We've been doing it for a year. It's a lot of negotiation back and forth. That's the time consuming here. So don't think we're only messing with 26 things. A lot of these people are out of state. This is a back and forth. Hey, I only want to pay this. And we go back and forth. She does the homework on the property. We see how much debt's on there, how much past due taxes, all the stuff. And it's a negotiation. And then it finally works its way through legal. And then we get a payment, and then they pay us, and then we move on to the next one. So that'll continuing work. Now we talk to Auckland part of this. That's a lot longer process, and we recover very little because that's just how that process was negotiated with Auckland. They own the debt, unlike us with the top one. They own the debt, and we are the executors for the foreclosures, to clear the debt, to clear the books, transition those properties to Auckland for them to either develop, sell. That's all part of that bond negotiation. We're not going to change that dynamic. Until that $12 million number ticks down, I think Auckland would maybe 2 years from now have the same discussion we did with Fifth Third. And do you guys want to buy us out or not? I'll be honest, that just needs to ride till it times out. We don't need to mess with that one. So we're going to continue doing those foreclosures. A lot of this is vacant land. Very few of these are houses. And we've recovered, at the end of the day, when Auckland even gets their hands on it, we do recover a small amount when it comes to past due district fees and penalties. So you see a smaller amount there that we recover at the end of the day. But it costs us money to recover that because we are hiring the lawyer to do the foreclosure. It's a time-consuming process. So that's going to continue forward. And then the past is the last statement there is the district had a lot of what I call past due debt for assessments. And honestly, there was not an active platform to seek it. They let the 5-year clock just time out. They being everyone not in this room, everyone predecessors here. We let the 5-year clock time out, and that number just got wiped from the books. All right, we didn't seek it. And that's not the best way to do business. So we are now actively working with Janice and the legal folks. We're actively seeking this debt and reaching out to these people that have not paid past due assessments, have not paid past due taxes. Getting on the county tax roll will be a great help in this, because now the hammer of the county, I'll say, when it comes to their ability to foreclose sooner than we could foreclose, or at least sell the tax certificate, will get us paid sooner rather than later. But just in our efforts, working Coral Finance Department, we recovered close to $2 million in recaptured past due debt. That goes to that higher number of revenue. We're not debt collectors. We're pretty damn close, but we're getting to that where we're being that annoying phone call saying, pay your bills. You owe us money, pay your bills. We're going to continue that process even with the county collecting our money for us. We still have a lot to go. We're going to continue to work on that 3.7 million and continue to check that away. But it's a work in progress, and we'll continue to seek that out. A lot of this gets settled at the end of the day, and it gets recovered. Some of it'll end up being something that we're going to just take ownership of, foreclose, and then it becomes a district parcel in the future. Any questions on that? All right, we touched on this very quickly. So collectively in 2026, or correction, 2025, these are all your capital projects. You see what we planned, what we actually expended. We had a few that we pushed into 2026, but for the most part, we executed about 82% of our capital projects. It's pretty good. The deferment wasn't based on, it's just we weren't ready. We weren't ready either with the RFP, or it wasn't really critical. We could push it one more year, so it was just a concerted decision by the staff, and then if we needed board direction, the board pushed it into 2026. You all approved some of these in the 2026 budget. That was a capital project that we just never couldn't execute. A little bit different. We do it a lot on utility. That's your road, or not your road, your water line replacement. So we pretty much hit the mark on that, 93%. The golf was where we had a lot of flexibility. There was more, we could have did them, But do we need to spend that money now, or can we just push it into another year? I erred on the side, push it into another year. We did the critical stuff, but we pushed the other stuff.
How much more of the asbestos wrap pipe do we have?
We have 2.5 miles left. We're gonna do we're doing a half mile plus every year. So, I'm hoping that by, 5 years, it's totally gone.
We've replaced,
We've replaced 2 miles.
okay,
The last part of Center Lake will be the last large asbestos, like we did this first part back here. That's a major undertaking. We're gonna wait to do that at the very end. So I'm gonna do all the little streets, Navarre, all those areas. We'll start continuing to do those, clean up those lines. They're a quicker project to do, but Sun Lake Boulevard, just because of how we got to shut down commercial businesses, it's a larger project. I don't see that happening probably till 2028, 2029, but it'll be the last big pipe we replace.
Okay.
And then we're done with asbestos. We have no lead in the district, so that's good news. We get rid of asbestos, then all our lines will either be a PVC variant, and will be able to take us plus than 50 years forward. Here's our summary. I think I hit on all these. I won't belabor the point. A good point there I hadn't really talked about. We expected to collect $1.8 million last year in the wastewater fee. We actually got $1 million more. Was it because we charged people more? People chose to pay either the entire amount, so that's more money than expected. People chose, we had a lot of developers that when they bought, they dropped their certificate or their permit to build a house. They paid us the $2,700 so they could sell it with no lien, so that's good news. So they paid a lot more into the coffers to help with our wastewater project moving forward. So that's good news there. Our budget book, while it's online and I like it, it still needs to be more user-friendly and interactive. We're working on that this year. You'll see some tweaks to that. I'm going to continue to put effort on our payroll and get that refined down to a better number across the district. So we have what we need, but we pay them appropriately. Because we'd rather retain than recruit. It's a lot cheaper to retain than recruit a bunch of folks. All right? And we'll continue to fully exercise our savings with proper investing. Metrics, we touch on this very quickly. We play a lot of golf here. 77,000 rounds, even with about 3 weeks of non-play, is pretty good. I think most of our peers around us might cover in the 30 to 40,000 round per year. Yeah, so we are well exceeding even the best courses surrounding us. So that's good news. Combination of public and member play you see there in tournaments, obviously. So continue. We serve a lot of meals for a standalone restaurant. We have a lot of banquets for the sides of our facility, and I see that exceeding even higher once we get the facility going. We added a lot of new customers. 408 meters in 1 year is a lot of new customers to our utility. Basically, every one of those meters is about $8,500, and that's just to install it. Now start adding $60 a month being on our utility. So that's a good position to be in as a standalone utility. We executed a lot of community events. I'm not talking golf. This is everything from turkey trot, we've executed a lot. And that was more direction by board, asked by citizens, and our staff is fully on board because that's the community I think we all want. We don't want everyone just sequestered in their house and not doing things collectively. They all might not come out to them, but we're going to continue to offer them to the best of our ability because that builds that bond around here. We consume a lot of fuel across the district. That's not really a lot when you look at some of the Orlandos and St. Pete's, but we do a lot for what we have. It's luckily that we are self-contained, so we can save a lot when it comes to that. We've done a lot on code enforcement, and this is always a struggle. There's a lot of folks that think we don't, but upon my arrival, in a year, there was no more than 100 notices with very few violations when I got here. You see those numbers exponentially has gone up where we're worried about more compliance than violations. So if I can get someone to comply and move their trash cans, fix whatever, cut their grass, I'd rather work that problem with the resident than just keep sending them bills, say pay this, pay this, pay this, and look at them as checkbooks. That's not right. I wouldn't want that. So we're going to continue with violations because some people need that little emphasis, that little boot in the ass to say, you got to do it right. But we're more focused on the notices to get compliance. We have a lot of memberships, and those numbers will only increase. We're already seeing, even with the rate increase, even with our category adjustments in our golf memberships, we're already exceeding our golf memberships for many years in the past. We even had a lot of our 90-plus-year-olds rejoin us, and that's great news. And we're charging them, so that's good news. Racket court memberships, we're going to get to the fidelity on here. That's what we have right now across our racket courts: pickleball, tennis, shuffleboard. That's rolling into this year. We're going to start seeing how does that pan out with the new membership fee. I don't think we're going to maintain 1,300, but I think we're going to maintain a pretty high number because we're only charging a small amount if you're a resident to be part of our racket courts, where some places charge into the hundreds, 200, 300, 400. We're just at $10 a month, I think, to be a member. So that's going to be good news. Our recreation rentals, we're very actively renting this place and our shelters. We'll continue to do that. And just in 1 year, we can track 590 new residents to Sun and Lake. This ain't renters flipping a house. This is a new body coming from somewhere else to come live here. So that's great news that we're continuing to grow. And that's all I got on our summary of 2024, 2025 for you guys, unless we got citizen comments. That's it, sir, for me. Unless you all got a specific question or you want to ask any public comment on this.
Any public comment on what we just heard?
Dave Martin, 5925 Orion Drive. The flowers they put up at the southern entrance are really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Trees, I mean, that's money well spent. I mean, you see it every day and enjoy it every day, and it looks like they're taking good root.
Boz, I want to bring that up.
Yes, sir.
Is it at a meeting that we should talk? Like, I believe, I like that entrance. But to ever get it to look good, those couple ponds have got to be cleaned.
I got you.
And is that something we bring up here at the meeting?
You
Or,
just brought us there and we'll take care of it.
I mean,
Yes,
I
yes,
want
sir.
you to look at it and.
Yeah.
And
The retention ponds,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of energy to get in there and clean them out.
I understand
But
that.
we can get our pond guy that sprays them first. Let's see what he can do, and then we'll get in there with equipment and try to drain it out.
But that place will look just tremendous
Sure.
if we ever get some of those ponds cleaned up.
I got you, sir. We'll
Okay.
add it to our list for beautification. Sir?
Okay.
Brian Gross, Pebble Beach Drive. Just a clarification, Boz, on the membership numbers. With the golf membership, recreation membership, that includes racket and pool. So are those numbers reflected in the membership numbers?
Those are, I did not add those into there.
Okay.
Yes. That is pure golf members.
Those are separate from the golf. Okay.
So, but I'm not double counting the pool. Those are pure 333 members that are just pool. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And same with racket courts. That's it, sir.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, item C, motion to cancel the development planning approved by the board with D.R. Horton on 29 October 2024 for 100 new homes in the district.
So just a year ago, we brought to you a presentation that working with D.R. Horton, they wanted to do a major investment for 100 parcels that could extend. I just brought it to you as, are you interested? You want me to start working the negotiation with them? You all gave us a 5-0 vote, and we moved forward on that. I'd say late summer is that we finally got down to the development agreement between the district and D.R. Horton. We sealed, we got no issues, whatever. I'm talking the size of the roads, them putting in the utilities, all that development stuff. No issues, no pushback. It was just a lot of back and forth with legal and getting the language right. So that was good, and we have that in the can ready to go. When I started pressing DR at the senior VP level and saying, okay, I do not want another Unit 12. I do not want years from now, we're stuck with nothing happening. I want a firm timeline on when you're going to push dirt, when you're going to do roads and that type of stuff. That's where I saw some hesitation. And I saw hesitation based on them The market, I'm gonna say it changed in the dynamics that when we presented this in October 2024, there was one major competitor at DR Horton level, Southern, in Sun and Lake. Over that year, we've added 30 other builders, not at the DR Horton level, hundreds of homes. We've added 30 other 10, 15 home builders that are direct competitors and taking some of the market away. This is me talking. This is my words working with DR Horton. So I think in that dynamic, they decided to buy the 57 vacant parcels and build homes. So there's 50 plus DR Horton homes out there. A lot of them sold, and they're going to continue to sell. But I think in the big picture, they felt that there was a lot of competition. They wanted to slow roll it a little bit longer. And that's not my problem, not our problem. And in my final discussion with Pete Girelli, the VP that is in charge of us, I said, you either need to commit to a timeline, put a substantial down payment down so my board feel comfortable you're going to do something, but it's more the timeline. I need a start timeline because I don't want 4 years from now to us be looking at empty spaces and you saying you're going to build 100 homes. We just lived that pain and we don't want to relive that pain. So he said, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Just frank discussion. So no bad blood between us. I said, when you're ready, come back. We'll present other options for you. But I cannot hold 100 plus parcels of premium land in case another developer walks in the door and brings a proposition to my board. So they were like, I got you. And I said, there's other land that we have. We have 1,000 other parcels. Maybe one day you'll come to us. But right now, my recommendation, take it for what it's worth, is that we extract the offer from them. They're not going to be upset. They know it's coming. But we extract the offer pending them to come back to us with, okay, we're ready to go. Development agreement's good. Janice will look at it. But now here's my timeline. January 1st, where I'm going to start doing this, this, and this, with some penalties if they don't. And that's, we need to learn from the lessons of our past. So this is my recommendation to y'all, is that we cancel the request for their parcels. We send them an official letter correspondence saying, thanks, come back to us when you're ready to go. And we continue, we keep the development agreement on the back burner. I'll have Janice review it to make sure that if anyone comes back, we're able to exercise that very quickly. So I'm asking that we have a motion to cancel that after discussion. That's all I got.
Is there any public comment?
Mark Carmine again. Just questioning, Boz, the amenities that they offered, all right, is that still on the table for any of what they've done so far? No, they've built quite a few houses and they had promised amenities that they were going to go ahead and provide for us. Is that
the houses they're building right now are not tied to the amenity package in this. There was a commitment from them that if they built 100 homes, a portion, I think $700 per home is going to go to amenities that we maintain. So that goes away. But the 50 plus homes they're building right now are them selling homes on their own. If they want to join our amenities, it's part of their deal. That's not part of this package.
so actually we received no benefit
We've
at all?
received no money nor spent no money.
Yeah. Okay.
But we are holding prime land for them with a wish and a prayer 5-10 years from now.
All right. And on top of that, the homes that are unfinished on Cortez and that community out there, is DR Horton involved in that as far as, no?
DR Horton bought some of the ones on Mexican Hat that were foreclosed.
Okay.
We just had a new developer, the person that bought it foreclosed. They bailed out of the foreclosure, the company that bought it. They were immediately replaced by a local builder that bought all those parcels. So you should start seeing some immediate changes to those vacant ones on Cortez.
Okay.
It's a different builder, though, not DR Horton.
All right. Thank you.
I make a motion.
Bill Norquist, back again. This is a subject which I'm not too familiar with, but when you cancel out the development or planning of this Horton guy, okay, fine. That's, you're making some kind of project because you have a valuable piece of property and you want somebody to build on it. But I just want to caution you that the history here in Sun Lake hasn't been too good. You have problems with county property. They sell it at a profit, and It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. But you have houses out there with no irrigation, no garages and things like that. So I think I'd want to be really, really stiff with the code, building procedures, qualifications of the builder to make sure we don't have any rotten eggs in the future development of the very prime piece of property. I believe it's section 12. So I beg to be kind of arrogant, not knowledgeable about this type of building, but there's a lot of rumors going around about certain developers, and I'm sick of it, quite frankly. We've got good pieces of property here. We should be selling them at a good rate, but the building should be much, much better. Thank you.
Scott Wyatt. I can only speak after almost 40 years in the building industry. I've dealt with a lot of national builders and regional builders, including D.R. Horton. D.R. Horton being one of the largest in the country. And I can say that they do things in their best interest, and that is their primary focus. And what Boz has just stated makes sense to me. If we are feeling bad vibes, if they're showing that they're dragging their feet, they are. They're a publicly held company, and they're backing off right now. And they're not necessarily the best people to do business with. The fact that they're one of the largest shows that they can command things their way. And there's a lot of builders out there and a lot of opportunities for Sun and Lake. So, Boz, what you're saying makes sense to me. We can back away and then revisit when the time is right, and with our option at that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Ray Brooks, I just have a question. Is that land developed?
No, this is Unit 16, the north side, so where all the roads dead end, Pebble Beach.
So we're gonna try and sell lots where the land's not developed? That's what it's down to.
This was undeveloped parcels that, just north of that.
So when we go to sell them, we're gonna have to cut a deal with somebody on developing the roads and the.
Oh, yes, sir, that was part of the discussion, so.
Well, that was part of the discussion with Horton, but they kind of screwed us.
Any developer that approaches the district, I'll bring back to the board that we're looking at a package where it includes them doing the infrastructure development.
Okay, does Horton realize that they set us back like a year?
Yes, sir. But I think your
I hope.
question was answered by the previous question.
Yeah, I hope there were discussions that were made by the district with Horton on exactly the feelings of what they've done to us.
They're fully aware I don't want to burn any bridges, D.R. Horton. They're a good company building a lot in Sun Lake.
Any
We're still
other
on good
public
terms.
comment? Is there any comment by the board?
I have a comment, and maybe I missed it, but the first time I heard of D.R. Horton backing out was from some email from a third party. How come as a board member, I wouldn't know about that before a third party email?
About
Unit 12, I mean, said the guy about who owned Unit 12 told us in the email about D.R. Horton backing out. I didn't know that.
confusing two issues.
No, I'm not. In his email, he specifically said D.R. Horton backed out of this deal.
Backed out of the deal buying 300 parcels in Unit 12.
Unit 12.
Yes, sir.
This is not a brand new issue. How long have we known about this that I haven't known about this? I'll ask it that way. I didn't know that D.R. Horton backed out until today
No,
then,
so
based on what
they
you're
did
saying.
back out. They want to continue.
Okay.
D.R. Horton has not backed out. I'm recommending that we back out.
Exactly.
To your point, the two large developers that were interested in Unit 12, because they've contacted us, DR being one of them, said we are not going to develop in Unit 12 with the current owner of Unit 12. Totally separate discussion.
Again, I'll disagree with that, but okay.
Okay.
The point being is, I feel a little blindsided sometimes that we're not getting the information until we come to a meeting. And I just like to know some of the stuff as it happens. And this is not, I'm telling you, the email that I read mentioned those 100 units that they want to back out of for now.
Okay.
You're saying they don't want to back out, but you're saying, okay. The email said they weren't going to go forward at that moment. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, with a timeline.
Okay.
Boz, I kind of, agree that we should do something with, D.R. Horton, but, is there a way that, just with the stuff with Hornick and Unit 12, is there a way that, that we can address some of these, developers and talk to them, the board? I mean, there's, it just, I could just tell with the stuff with Hornick, there's a lot of stuff going on that we're not privy to until the last minute. And I kind of like to talk to D.R. Horton to see why they backed out. I mean, I've got a good, or they haven't backed out.
They have backed out.
I, you know, and I agree with you. I don't want to put up with another deal. And that's why I think I agree with you, but I just think that with this many developers, I used to know them all. Of course, we only had 3 or 4 back then, but now I have no idea who they are. And
If I can ask Pete from D.R. Horton, if you want him to come to the next meeting, explain their logic. Sir, I can ask that and we can delay this.
well, I don't think we need to delay it. I just, because I agree with you wholly that they're going to wait and do it.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Wyatt said, I mean, they're big enough, they're going to do it when they want to do it. And if there's a chance, aren't you showing some of this to other people now?
Very much so. There's
That's
other,
what I thought.
there's other
So,
builders. and
But see,
developers.
I only knew that because in one of our conversations, but I wouldn't have known that. And I'm kind of like Greg, I like to know a little more what's going on earlier than, but, you know, I agree that I don't want to go through another Unit 12 deal. So that's all my comments. Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to cancel the 100 parcels offered to D.R. Horton from the 29 October 2024, pending a change in the development circumstances.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Amia?
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes. Yes.
Supervisor Harry,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
and President Gilpin.
Yes. Okay, next item is discussion and motion to move the 13 January 2026 Tuesday board meeting to be able to conduct a landowner meeting, then hold the January board meeting with the newly elected board member able to participate in new elections.
So there was a second and third order effect of our adjustment of our moving our board meetings from the end of the month to the beginning of the month. And this was the first year we're seeing that. We just did that starting in January. So by that case, if we would have held a board meeting in January, the second week in January, the second Tuesday, you'd have the current board. And then there'd be a landowner meeting later, and then there'd be a February board meeting. The discussion was in the past that we needed to have one singular board meeting that used to be joint. I think some of you lived during a time where they were a joint meeting. And rather than create a 2 meeting in January, move the meeting early in January, push it to the 23rd. Then you have the date where you can have a joint meeting, I'm calling it. We start with a board meeting with the current board in place. We conduct the board meeting, and at a point in time, you end the board meeting. Right now, it's looking like a lean agenda based on what we're seeing today and what usually the holiday season. We move straight into a landowner meeting where you all move from your seats there into those seats there as landowners. There's a landowner chairman that's selected from the audience. To me, if she's still in that seat, will be the recorder for the day. And then we conduct the landowner update as well as receive the vote, the final vote of that one seat, Mr. Herrick's seat. Now we have 5 new board members. we do our presidential election based on our bylaws, that I think immediately afterwards, the new board will direct us to change some language there if you do so, and we'll adjust that for February moving forward. But we'll have a vote, we'll seat a new president, seat a new vice president. Usually we pick the board secretary as your secretary, and usually the finance director is your finance treasurer. We vote those people in, and then the 5 members that have been new seated will come take their seats. We'll re-adjourn back into a board meeting. There's now an action done by the new board, and we continue the board meeting. So to do all that, we need to adjust our schedule for January, basically moving it to the 23rd. You alluded to that on the last Friday, 23rd, or the third Friday, we'll do that. This is the language that was brought up in our current policy. So the point that was for a previous discussion we had, yes, there's some state stuff that's directed to us. There's some county charter stuff that we have to do and cannot change. But there are some things that we control, you control, based on directives. And this is one of the things that unless it's codified in the county charter or the state laws, which these aren't, we can adjust these based on board action, and then I present them, we update the policy book. One of those is the first sentence right there, election of officers. This has been in our book for 52 years. It's just some reason, we really didn't whole press forward to it. But the election officers of the board are selected at the landowners meeting, annual landowners meeting. Now that was because you all had a joint meeting, so that kind of muddied the water, and it probably looked like it was being done at the landowners meeting. But since we segregated them, it highlighted a concern this year. So we could change that language. We could change the second bullet. We could change the third bullet. We control that language, and that's something you guys direct us, and we can show you a thing, a plan change after the election. Because at the very bottom, straight from state charter, is that any tweaking of our landowner meeting or rules and policies cannot be done within 90 days of an election. So we can't touch it. We'll live with it, and then we can adjust it in February. Recommendation is we conduct the vote of president, vice president, and others at the landowner meeting as directed. We elect the supervisor at that time. Like I say, we'll conduct the vote in the back room there. We'll have all the absentee ballots. We'll have all the people that voted in the district office. We'll start opening those up with our auditor that's in the back room there. Anyone that comes the morning of Friday from 9 to 11 can vote. They'll do that in the back room while the meeting's going on here. And then at 11 o'clock, the auditor, the accountant firm that we hired, will tell us the new seat, who's got selected, and then we'll do an audience from the audience, who is the president. If you go back historically, that's kind of the way it was intended. You had a room full of landowners back in 1974. You guys were the people that voted. You guys were sitting in the audience, and someone said, I vote Ray, I vote Smith, I vote Harry. And then you all picked them, and then you set them up front, and they sat. It's just we never cleaned up that language as times changed. So we're going to clean it up. That's our job, based on your direction. We'll clean that language up.
Who gives the direction? That's,
What's that, sir?
Janice just found that, right? What she's
Well,
looking?
when we have to prepare for the landowners meeting, and in that preparation, team found it, and we sent it to legal's interpretation was,
Okay.
no, you need to do it.
Okay.
So that's the intent there. So the recommendation is we move the meeting to the 23rd. All that said, that's the recommendation.
Is there any public comment?
Mark Carmona again. Our Canadian residents here are landowners. I've had a number of them approach me and wanting to find out if they're eligible to vote as a landowner.
They
I
are.
need clarification on that.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yes.
Okay.
You do not have to be a U.S. citizen. You do not have to be registered to vote in the state of Florida. As long as you own a lot and you are current on your assessments, you are allowed to vote.
Okay.
For any portion, any lot or taxable unit that you have in the district.
All right.
So it can be multiple. If you own multiple lots, you have multiple votes.
I would prefer, if possible, if we could put out some sort of notice in our district newsletter that our fellow Canadian residents are eligible for voting.
Sure.
If you would do that. Thank you.
It should be all landowners because a lot of them think that it's
Great.
registered voters in Florida.
We'll clean that language up. These are the only two seats that everyone can vote. The other three seats are Florida rules. So the other three, you got to do it in November, and you are restricted. But I know when I first arrived here, there was an initiative to try to make them all popularly elected. I would, as a staff guy, I would offer, this is the way it needs to be to give a voice to landowners out of state.
Yeah, as long as we have the landowner thing, because at one time there was all 5 landowners, and landowners were, I think, 6 or 7 developers,
Sure,
and that's who picked the officers.
that's a great point.
And, but it's grown into, and this only happens in special districts
Yes.
in the state of Florida. So Sebring doesn't do this, nobody. So as long as we have 2 more. And we talked about that, that when we go to 1 or when we go to 0 and so on and so forth. But as of now, I do have a question though, for Janice. When we vote for president and vice president, every vote is only 1 vote. It's not 2 like in a general election. So my wife and I get 1 vote, or my house. How are we going to make sure that when we vote for president and vice president, that only 1 person from that household is voting?
The vote, it's my understanding that the vote for the officers is just a vote of the board members.
Of the board members.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
It's just the board members.
that's not the way this is written.
Yeah,
This is written that it's
It
everybody
used to be
that's
the
at the,
board members, but
everybody that's here at that meeting has the right to vote.
Mm-mm. No.
It's never, it's not been done that way, but that's what this says. It's supposed to be done that way. And
No.
we've checked with some people that have been here forever, and that's the way it was been done in the past. Up until who knows when.
Just a second. I got you. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. You need time to review.
Yeah.
You give her time to review that?
But just so the audience knows, it's, when you vote, your family, your lot is 1 vote, not 2, not, if there's somebody else 18 and older that's voting, right, it's 1 vote for 1 parcel. Okay.
Do you have any?
What we're needing here is you guys to agree that the 23rd is the joint session.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
That's all we
Okay.
want.
Okay.
That's all we're
We'll
trying to
have
do.
legal review the vote criteria if we need to.
Yeah.
And then we will publish it appropriately to all. But
Okay, but
I just needed you to change it.
It's just something, I agree,
Yeah.
but since we were in the discussion.
Oh, yes, sir. No, you,
So you want, we want a motion to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, just to move it to a joint meeting on 23 January.
okay, wait a minute, you got another.
I'm just a little confused. So when we have, if we're in the audience at the meeting, you're going to ask us to nominate and vote for a president and a vice president. And you're going to be able to control who's husband and wife. I mean, how are you going to do that?
Well, that's the
That's
clarification.
why I asked.
Huh?
That's why I asked.
That's the clarification we're getting now, because it's
Yeah.
only those in the room.
Remember, you can't change the laws, though.
We can't change them, but we got an interpretation.
Yeah. It says, according to your policies under officers, each officer is elected by a majority of the members by roll call vote, members being members of the board.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
At the annual landowners meeting, but it's voted on by the members of the board. If you look at, roll back there, 1001 and 1002. 1002, it's the last sentence of 1002. Each officer is elected by a majority of the members by roll call vote.
So I'm confused. What was the answer?
The way it's always been done, Ray. We
What?
do it.
At the landowners meeting,
Yes.
when they're seating there, they will select a president and vote on that. But they're not, that's the concern, that they're in a landowner status. They're not in a voting status
Right,
and they're
right.
sitting with the landowners. That's the concern, yeah.
All right,
Well, I'm
well,
concerned,
yeah.
but if we count, how are you going to count the votes? tough
I'm less worried
question.
about that because we control it's only those at the room. You
Yeah.
don't start voting in December for the
But if you
president.
get 50 people in here,
Yes, sir.
how are you going to know that my wife is sitting over there and I'm over here?
I got you. And
I mean, that's, I think what his point.
Yeah,
That's the
that's,
question,
that
and
that
we-
was my point.
And we'll sort out the
ballots,
logistics
yeah.
of the actual vote. To your concern, yes, sir. We can control that. It's either gonna be a ballot. There's only 10 people in the room. We'll do a hand vote. We can confirm that. So-
Okay.
But we'll work out those logistics. I'm more worried about,
We seem to be very flexible on certain things.
Members of the board will
Confusing.
have to convene the board at the landowners meeting somehow. We'll work it
okay.
out.
We're gonna work
the
that out.
mechanics of how
Yeah.
we transition back to the board.
Okay.
authority.
Yeah.
Well, we can discuss it a little while later. We need a motion though to, on D, if somebody like to do that.
I'll make a motion to move the January 13th meeting to board meeting to be conducted in concurrence with the landowner meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Mia?
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Harris,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes,
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes.
We have no add-ons,
Nope. Petitions and communications? No.
petitions received.
Staff reports, I guess it's Janice.
Just a brief report today. I've been working with Finance Director Ms. Benka and Ms. Caldwell, working on a delinquent assessment collection policy. I know they have an aggressive goal this year to collect as many assessments as they can, or delinquent assessments. We're working on procedures so they're applied evenly to everybody. And the only update on the litigation is still there's a motion to dismiss has been filed by the property appraiser. There's been a response filed, but the property appraiser has not said anything for hearing.
okay,
That concludes my legal report.
thank you.
Okay, great.
I did, in that alibi, I did have one correspondence, it's in your packet, DEP. So we finally submitted everything DEP required of us for our loan/grant. And the letter is the receipt of that from DEP, acknowledging that, as well as giving us a February hearing date where they'll determine what size of a loan or a grant we get. Right now, it's leaning on a loan because there's two criteria for us to get any type of grant money: population or demographics of financial status. Because of the census tracts, I don't think we're going to hit the financial category because a lot of the census tracts run right down 27, and a lot of the folks on the other side of 27 are in a different category than everyone in Sun and Lake. But it's or, and right now this is where I don't mind saying we have less population. The state's last accounting for Sun and Lake that DEP is using is a 9,000 number, and you have to have less than 10,000 to qualify for a grant. So we're going with that number. So if that's the case, then part of our $60 million ask will be a combination of loan/grant. Grants we don't pay back, loan we pay back. The plan that we submitted, the plan that we built, worst case it, that if they gave us a $60 million 20-year loan, we financially could pay it back based on our utility and based on everything. So any determination of any grant money will be extremely beneficial and not change anything, only for the better. And we'll get that determination in February. So that's just the only add-on. I wanted you to know that that process continues to move with DEP. You have the general manager's report. It's getting kind of lengthy. I apologize, but there's a lot of data in there as well as online. This is a big month for holidays coming up. Starts tomorrow with a lot of our Christmas holidays. The biggest one, there's an event here tomorrow night. Paint for holidays. The tree lighting will be at the district. We're right now going to start at 6. Probably 6:15, 6:20. We'll actually do the tree lighting based on it being dark. We'll get full effect. So that'll be at the district office, the district tree. You see it getting decorated on there. Friday night, we're doing our second year participation in the Sebring Parade. That's just a district float that has staff as well as citizens participating, as well as some of our district golf carts will be in that procession. That's going to be just a good marketing tool for us to explain, to show Sun and Lake to Sebring. So good for us. will participate in that. So if there's anyone interested in still participating, even as a resident, to see the ladies in the back office there, we'll see if we have a seat either on a golf cart. It's a pretty cool way to see the parade. You're actually in it. We're in the front of it. So we're done a lot earlier than the 3-4 hour parade. We're pretty much done in 20 minutes, and then we can go home and enjoy the night. But we're still taking volunteers or anyone that wants to participate as well as board members. If you want to do that, dress up, show up downtown, we'll put you on the float. Then we go into our golf cart parade following Merry Market, the sale that's going to be around here. The big difference in Merry Market this year, we're going to do an internal Merry Market for some folks that want to participate and sell their wares inside the space for a higher fee, just based on we're giving them some top cover and resources from the weather. But all your Merry Market stuff's going to be out front. So we're not doing it in the back lot back there. And the reason we're choosing that is we foresee some prep work with our pool going on in the back that's going to tear up that ground in the next couple of weeks, so I don't want to mess with that. So we're going to put all this stuff in the front. The kiosks and the tents will be all out here.
Is
That's
there
gonna
going to be food trucks?
Yes, ma'am. Food trucks, music, kiosk selling from 10 to 2 that day. We do the regular ice cream social music in the park. Our New Year's clubhouse party through Mike and the team there, separate district event. Please sign up unless you got any more space in that. Yes, no? So there's space available on December 31st. Sign up for the clubhouse. That'll end or not end at 9 p.m. There'll be the annual district fireworks being set off back here. Not really tied to that event, but it gives that event a good closure, but it also gives the rest of our residents in the district some fireworks New Year's Eve. So that'll be here. We're not going to have any parking, not going to have any music out back here, not any staffing. It's basically on your own. If you want to roll around here, New Year's Eve night, watch the fireworks or watch it from your house, just come out back here, and that'll be at 9 p.m. They'll shoot the fireworks off. Street lights are pretty much all installed except for about 25 heads, the flat tops on the park. Right now, we're going through a process of QA/QC, some of them having the settings that have to get tweaked, and we spread them throughout the district. We are now ordering for the 2027 season because there's about a 6-month lag. So we're going to put that order in to get those in the queue. Not going to pay for anything until next year's budget, but I wanted to get those coming from, they all come from France. So interesting things. We're talking about the election prep. We're doing that. I'll do another state of the district report that'll be out probably next week. We'll do the report that we send out and post it online. It's just a summary of all 2024, 2025, just like we did with the financials. Here we did a change. So here's your new schedule. In the evening meetings at 5:30. So we'll commence that way with the schedules for next year. Right now, we have a few special meetings at the very bottom there that will be for future events, for budget, strategic planning, and the assessments rates being set. So, but we just really adjusted some of the time frame. We did have a slight change in our district holiday schedule. So for situation awareness for the board, all the holidays are pretty much in line with either state, federal, or county holidays. The only add-on we did, because we're going to do a very large special recognition for the 250th birthday of America on the Friday before the 4th of July, the 3rd of July, rather than make that a district day off so I can have the staff be able to operate and staff that appropriately, I'm going to give them the Monday off instead of the Friday off. So we're just tweaking that a little bit. No big deal there. It's still the same day, but I'm backloading it rather than front-ending it. Then I can have the entire staff to be able to support, and we're really looking at that being a full day of events, ending with fireworks. That'll have a fair-like atmosphere, food trucks, vendors, rides, kids, everything, and it'll just be around here for the whole day. That'll be the plan, and that'll happen on 3 July. So just one adjustment on the holidays. Here's your summary of Troon stuff, a little bit lean. This past month, Troon, we sent our general manager as well as our agronomist off to 2 conferences through Troon. So they went off-site. We pay for their travel, but they participate in those conferences. On the district side, we're continuing to do what the district does. We run the tournaments, we run the member engagements, we do the cultural practice on the golf course and so on, and conduct there. So we're still trying to figure out how to present the financial impacts of the Troon contract that we can represent here monthly for you guys to start seeing on a monthly basis. So I'll get with Brian on how we can present that data. We showed it last month, the amount saved on chemicals, but I think we could continue to show that with some of the discounts we get. So I apologize, that's that one.
Just before you leave that.
Yep.
Have any of you guys, any of you on the board here gone out and looked at the condition of the golf courses?
I have not.
We are going on over 6 months of trying to get the greens back to the good condition. You really need to go out and look at them and see what we're getting for the $120,000. And yes, I bring it up all the time when the greens are bad. That's because this is a golf club management group that is supposed to be taking care of it. And I cannot accept the fact that we are in 6 months and we still have not got the greens repaired. It is totally unacceptable. We have come along and said, okay, but we get this excuse, then we get this excuse. There can't be any more excuses. 6 months, brand new greens. You said that we had to have new greens in order to have successful because we needed to change the soils and everything else. People, please go out, review the golf course and see what we're getting, because I'm telling you, we have lived with poor greens for the past 6 months and no real improvement. In fact, I believe there's some of them that are going the other direction. Now, I'm talking mostly deer. Turtle, we overseeded. It's going to be okay through this season. But deer, and we've got a big major tournament coming up at the end of this month where we showcase Sun and Lake golf courses with the women's amateur. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. You need to look at it, please. I'm not going to be here, so I'm telling you again, it's time for a change.
So I'll just speak to myself. I was out on the course about 6 weeks ago with Mike, kind of maybe at the peak or just beyond the peak of the issue on deer. But I've not been out since, but the feedback I get from my northerners who come back, they always tell me what's going on in their opinion. I haven't heard I haven't heard your passion from them. So if it's bad, I mean, Mike, is it bad? And I thought it was very well on the way to mending.
To answer your question, it is mending. However, we are into our off season as far as growing goes, so it is at turtle pace. So I will not disagree with that, but it is mending. It's just very slow this time of year. It's simple as, I mean, I haven't mowed my yard once in the past 4 months. Everybody's grass is just not growing this time of year. So I'm not going to disagree with that it is extremely slow. I know Jimmy's pushing them as hard as he can. You can see it in his greens report here. And I know they fertilized them again yesterday, top dressed them, pushed them. They have put in some more plugs. They do have the acid injection in, and that's bringing that issue into check. I was gone for a whole week, and when I returned, I was actually happily surprised when I went out to number 6 on deer. It actually looked a lot better to me.
6?
Yes, the center of that green improved quite a bit, and I take pictures of it because I go look at them almost every morning, or at least try to look at 9 holes every morning, and compare the pictures. It has improved. And I agree, it's not there yet, but it's healing at a turtle pace right now.
Are you available this afternoon if I?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I too was out about 5 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago with Mike, and I did notice it, and they said they were going to be healing, so I haven't in a month seen them. So
If I could make just a brief comment.
we'll have some public comment pretty soon. If you want to just wait, Scott, please. Thank you. What else, Buzz?
Yes, sir. Again, highlighting some of the events, Veterans Day was very well attended, good speakers. and I appreciate that, and we'll just continue to build on this event. We have some new amenities to our racket courts. That structure on the left is a shade cover, really getting ready for our warmer season, that covers the trackway where members stop and rest before they get on the courts to play, since we don't have it cover over the entirety. That was a joint operation between volunteers, staff, racket members, so that turned out well. You see the shade in the back, and if you always want to go by there, drop in, just take a look at the racket courts. That was a great addition, as well as adding some TVs to be able to display who's playing on what court, rules and that type stuff. Again, continuing to improve the amenities for what people are paying for now. So this is the last event for this year. So other than this and the ethics training, we're moving on. Your 25K and above report, everything in line with what was in our budget. Nothing out of the norm there. We paid insurance, so it's a big policy in the beginning of the year. Highlands Commission is our healthcare and so on. Some of the legal expenses are really a combination of lawsuit, regular costs, but we get a bill from the vendor. So that individually, that really didn't go over 25K, but since we paid one time, one vendor, I wanted to present it that way. And you'll see some of that in some of the others. It's more of how the vendor charges us or sends us a bill at the end. It may be for Max Environmental is a perfect example. They do work for us in sealing our manhole covers. They work in Tanglewood. They work in some of the unit. They do it over a couple months, and then they send us a bill. But they're doing it in small chunks. Finance is going to work with them to better get them to send us earlier bills rather than doing a lump collection. Otherwise, it just keeps showing up on this report. So, but nothing of alarm here. Our golf committee met, even though they don't have a president or a chairman, I should say. They met, and what I highlighted in red, we had staff attend. There was an ask about some additional ice water. We have an additional ice water machine that was sitting in the snack shack. There was no use for it, so we are able to repurpose that rather than buy one. And that addressed an amenity that was being asked by collective of golfers, not just golf members, but public play as well. And then the meeting will be this week. Is that tomorrow? Or they canceled December? Yeah, so I apologize. They canceled December's meeting, but we do, Mr. President, need to select a chairman for this.
I've interviewed one, and I have another interview I think in the next week or so. But
Okay.
I will pick one and notify you, Boz, when it's done.
All right.
And but I'm sure by January we'll have one. Okay.
We're good on that. And subject to any questions from you all about staff stuff, that's all I got.
Okay. Anything? Okay, we have public comment now again.
Ray Brooks, I have a couple of questions for Boz. Can you give us an update on the swimming pool? Can you give us an update on the banquet facility? And last year, there was conversations about reevaluating how we do assessments. Has anything ever been done about that?
So pool, we received, when FEMA came back online, they gave us our approval. We received that. We sent that to the county for part of our permit. The vendor submitted the actual building permit. They were waiting on that one document for the watershed issue because we're building it close to the water. That's been submitted to the county. The vendor is now marking the location out back here. We're moving a water line. So that's a 4-month project that now we can actually start pushing dirt because all the blocks have been checked. So that's going to start continuing back here with our vendor. They were just waiting on being able to drop the building permit with the Highlands County, since that's who we go to. So you should start seeing some activity even over the holidays, but that will not go ribbon cutting for the pool probably a month or two later with the yoga and gym, just because how we got to finish that. The pool won't go have a ribbon cutting. We're shooting for a late March, beginning of April timeframe for the pool.
Okay.
Banquet hall, we did a walkthrough last week with the engineers. We're doing some adjustments again based on the water line and the impacts to Lake Granada. So we're moving it a little bit closer so there's not a long breezeway. So we're doing some architectural rendering changes there, as well as the parking area in that cul-de-sac just needs to be redrafted. So our engineers are working that. We just today we hired a project manager for all district projects. This is an individual that we've been interviews for 3-4 months now. Finally settled on one. He's schooled in project management, very comfortable with him. His first day is today. So he's over there getting in process. So once he gets on board, he'll start taking the RFP for the banquet hall and get that in the queue for the RFP process. But we're using a time now to build all the same stuff we had to do with the pool, FEMA, waste, the rural water folks, all that type of stuff. So I don't honestly see any the RFP going out in the next couple months. We'll get that back in 60 days, probably a beginning of summer where we start laying that out structure-wise. And it's really just because we're tweaking the structure of how we want to orient it based on parking and other issues.
So on the banquet hall, we're looking at the 2026 or 2027?
No, once we get the RFP based on the final design plans, there'll be building next year. 2026 is when we asked for it.
So it'll be open sometime next
We're
year?
looking for late summer into fall, winter of next year. We should be going live on a banquet hall.
Okay. What about the assessments?
Assessments, I got 2 proposals, I should say, that are 2 companies that deal with this from Tallahassee, deal with how we calculate assessments, how we identify categories in the $25,000 to $30,000 range. So once I get that packaged up, I'll bring it to the January meeting for the board for you guys to, if you want to go down that road. What these companies do is they assess how we've structured our assessment fee structure, what we're charging people, what categories we have, and we've done internal tweaks to it, but now this will be 15 years since the last time it was done. This will be a holistic look of, do we have the right categories of assessments on our parcels, as well as do we have the right categories to start with? So the board will see that in January. They'll give me directive. It's about a 60 to 90 day process for them to do their work. And then I think they'll present it to us just in time to either do it next budget cycle, or if you guys want to punt it till 2027, we can do it then.
So we could put it next year's bill?
We could. It would be times where we could present it that fee adjustments and category adjustments could happen in next budget.
I mean, the assumption is that we're going to get more money by doing this.
The assumption
So I would
is-
assume we would make sure we get it on the bill for next year.
Yep, that's what we're shooting for.
It would be to our benefit.
Yes, sir.
And just one little thing.
Yep.
I'm big on numbers, as you all know. I've seen 3 different numbers on the golf membership today. If you go back and look at what was presented, there's 3 different numbers on what our membership is. So I just think you all get together and get it right.
Yes, sir. We'll get a firm number what D has as of today.
With regard to the conditions of the golf course, I think Turtle Run has been in fantastic condition all year. I mean, it's probably the best that I've seen it. But regarding Deer Run, the greens were replaced last September, and the first 6 to 8 months, the course was extremely challenging to play because golfers at all levels, when they hit the ball into the greens were like concrete. They just couldn't hold them. And we were told over and over that this is a 1-year process. And at the end of a year, these greens would be as close to perfect as they could be. And I think Supervisor Norton, with regard to the snowbirds, I think it's important the way the question is asked, how you get the feedback. And most of our snowbirds left in, let's say, April or May, with the expectation that when they came back, having this been over a year, these greens were going to be fantastic. I play in 4 groups every week. I get a chance to interact with a lot of the golfers. And if you ask them, when you got back, did the greens meet your expectations or not? I'm hearing consistently, no, they expected them to be better. They expected them to be really good, and they're not. They're coming along, yes, but it's not what people expected. So I think it's important how the question is asked. Many of the people aren't going to complain. They're not complainers. They're not going to come up to you and complain about the greens. But if you ask that question about expectations, it didn't meet many people's expectations.
Just a couple of quick things. I heard from a resident that owns property right up to Hog Lake that he is upset about the walking trail that is proposed to go around it. I want to know if anything has been said or done to alleviate that situation.
The last meeting we had with the HOA on that side of the lake was 8 months ago. And I left that meeting with, they are not supportive of a trail being on their segment. So any trail we do will be from the racket courts and wrap around to right here, and it'll stop at the wood
Okay.
line. We are not going to force them, even though we have an easement there, we're not going to force them to put a trail in if I have 15 residents saying, we really don't want people in our backyard. So I left that meeting with, we hear you and we're not going to intrude on you. So,
I think those residents need to be aware of that.
Okay.
Because they approached me, wanted to find out what I knew about it.
I got you, sir. Yep.
Secondly, as far as the Greens Committee is concerned, electing the president of the Greens Committee, is that something that is done strictly by you, Mr. Gilpin, or is that going to be a board decision?
No, it's the president does it.
Okay. Wouldn't it be a better idea if the entire board, and I'm just off the top of my hat, instead of one person making that decision, I think the entire board should probably make that decision. Just saying. Thank you.
Bill Norcross, hopefully for the last time. I had a question on the status of the Shoemaker Road out there. You know, what's happened with that? That's been kicked around for how many years now? And it's, we've done a land swap or road swap, and I got it, but what is the condition of their proposal to surface that road out there? Just an inquiry.
So the agreement by the county was they have another 1.5 years to complete that project. The only change I would say that the county did as of 1 October was they funded another $100,000 to that project with the county budget. So right now, I think there hovers about $400,000 in that project. County money, not our money. Beyond, other than some surveying, working with the new county engineer, other than some surveying, I don't foresee any county work happening probably till 2027. They're going to ride that out to the very end to get it done on the timeline that they agreed to. Once they're done their road extension all the way out to the circle, they're going to dead end it where it turns left now, make a circle out there. It'll be right at the same time we do our road coming into Sun and Lake and improve our entrance, the further entrance back down.
Just a point here that the city of Sebring got COVID money. And they got $18 million. They had no idea what they were doing with it. They were giving it away practically. So, you know, when these people from the county and Sebring and, you know, because we weren't eligible for any of that funding because we were in a cooperated district. And it was so unfair that their projects, and we have to kick in a little bit more, like you say, no more. But I hope that all the grant money that you can get, we certainly deserve it because we as residents really got on the short change of that COVID money that was handed out to that city of Sebring. So hope you, good luck.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Bill.
One update on that for the board. The National League of Special Districts got language put into the federal language register that moving forward, a special district will be treated just like a city, town, or village for any funding the federal governments give out because of the COVID debacle. So moving forward, if there's ever something bad like a COVID or something, when they dole out money to Sebring, Avon Park, they're going to start adding Spring Lake, Sun and Lake, and all the other 1,800 districts in Florida. So that was, we didn't do anything there. That was our national representatives for special districts that pushed that through. So.
Any other public comment? Any follow-up items? Discussion to and from the board? Okay, the meeting is adjourned.
A few minutes. Does he have his slides?
Yeah, I'll ask him.